Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. I got a disturbing video I'm going to talk about is another inmate's death. And I hate to even almost say this. I think it's going to be one of my last ones. I can't take these anymore. I don't mean my last one, but I have to get back to my cooking shows and everything else I'm going to be doing here in the next few months because I'm starting to fucking get torn apart inside. It really is rough. Before I get started on this video, please check me out on YouTube member programs, Patreon. Please check me out on all Discord, my book, Gangster Redemption, The Cigar, all that kind of stuff. Just please check me out. I mean, and please, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and help us out because we're building a platform to make a change, and I mean that. All right, I'm going to be talking about a guy who starved to death in prison. Yes, starved to death in prison in the United States. I received this information from some of you guys out there, and I receive a lot of it. Now, I also then do my own research, and I find out what people are saying, meaning the government and stuff of that nature. Now, I can keep going on and on about this, and I will keep going on and on. I don't think I'm gonna ever quit, but I will tell you something, guys, man, this is fucking starting to get to me emotionally. I'm in a great place personally. I mean, I'm feeling good. I'm back. I have a cooking show coming up I'm gonna be doing this week. A lot is going on, and I wanna thank all your support and everybody out there for your support. But I have to just do this last one here that's just driving me a little bit crazy, if you want to call it that. It's fucking crazy what's going on. And I'm going to go right from what it's about, you know, and this is where I have to tell you guys what exactly it's about. Florida inmate starves to death, unable to reach his food after officers paralyze him. That's the heading of an article that just came out on 10/17 at 5 p.m. by Kaylin Womack. Now, when I read this stuff to you, you're gonna probably say, nah, this can't be true. It's fucking true. It's blowing me away. Listen to this. My neck is broke. I'm paralyzed, said Greg Ridley from a wheelchair. You're bullshitting. You're just trying to get a lawsuit, responded a correctional officer. Ridley laid on the floor of his cell for the next 5 days, pleading for help as officers dropped trays of food he couldn't reach. Just hours before, officers tackled him to the ground, dislocating his neck. A report by the Miami Herald, including details from a 383-page investigation by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, has shined a light on the hidden story of Ridley's death. FDLE report found Ridley died because of his injuries and starvation. His fellow inmates and family members told investigators his death may have been a cover-up. You listening to this? Ridley was sentenced to a 20-year mandatory minimum on attempted murder charges in 2007. It's the year I got out. That's why it touched me too. The morning of September 8th, 2017, correction officers got into a struggle with Ridley, tackling him to the ground face first. According to the video footage, he was brought a wheelchair after telling the officers he couldn't walk. He was taken to solitary confinement, and officers popped him up on the cell's toilet. He fell over, breaking his nose. Now you got to remember how the cells are set up. They just bring you in the cell, put you on a toilet, and then when he falls, they didn't give a shit. An inmate signaled to the officers that Ridley was lying in a pool of his own blood. Ridley was finally taken to see a doctor. Jean Durr, who concluded there was nothing wrong with him and conducted no neurological tests despite the lifeless appearance of Ridley's limbs, and his inability to move on his own, according to the FDLE. Now remember, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. This is what I'm talking about. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement investigated this. More about the case from the Miami Herald. That afternoon, Ridley was returned to a confinement cell, this time with no cellmate. Prison staff walked by 19 times that day without entering to check on him. although they occasionally shined a flashlight into his cell. Security footage shows on September 9th, staffers walked by 44 times without entering to check on him, then passed by 48 times on September 10th, another 41 times on September 11th, and 18 times on September 12th. No one changed his sheets or offered him a shower. At least 11 inmates in his cell block reported that Ridley never moved from his bunk, did not pick up his food trays, and that the officers ignored him and said he was faking. One correctional officer noticed on September 12th that Ridley was mumbling unintelligibly and hadn't moved, per the FDLE report. He was taken to Memorial Hospital at 1 a.m. the next morning. By the time his sister Diane Ridley Gatewood got to him, he'd been intubated. Ridley died the following month. The medical examiners ruled his death a homicide. According to the Miami Herald, 450 incarcerated individuals die in Florida state prisons per year. As expected, prison guards and correctional officers often walk free from the traumas they impose on inmates, leaving them injured or dead. Ridley's daughter, Jatoon Moss, hopes to change that with a federal suit against the correctional officers, medical staff, and Secretary of the Department of Corrections. They think they're above the system and they can make this go away, Moss said of the state prison system, but they're wrong. It's not just my father, she said to the Miami Herald. We have to get as much light as we can on this issue, especially for the black community. My father was a black man. I'm a black woman. Now, I don't think it has anything to do with black, white, or Hispanic. I think our prison system is broke. I think people don't care. I think they look at everybody as the big criminal, and they don't treat people humanely. I don't know how people can do what they do. I've seen it all the time. I witnessed it in prison myself. Quite frankly, it's disturbing, and it gives me goosebumps, man. It really does. It gives me goosebumps because I know people who died in prison. I know many of them. And I mean, at what point do we fucking say, we gotta treat people humanely? Is our prison system this barbaric? Apparently so. Let me give you some of the comments from this article. One person said, damn, this is fucked up. Everyone involved, from the guards who first injured him, to the ones who had ignored him, to the doctors that examined him, need to face charges over this and lose whatever license they have for life. That's all. We can kind of swallow it when some unhinged wrench does something hideous. When this many people are involved in something this horrifying, there really should be no survivors among the culprits. I've long wished that we could prosecute businesses and institutions not by simply finding them, but by literally padlocking their doors. For me, this episode condemns the entire institutional context in which it occurred. Incarcerate everyone materially involved, in addition to, and especially, the entire management hierarchy of the facility. Burn it down. Another one. They indeed really need to face charges. Whether they will is another story. Another person. Yeah, but they won't. It's the U.S. And more importantly, it's Florida. I'll be surprised if the state doesn't attempt to sue her for undue mental stress. Think of it. Think of the fucking people who are reading this and what's going on. This is another person. As a CO, this is beyond reprehensible. We perform checks for a reason. If someone hasn't moved in an hour or two, we key the cell and check on them for responsiveness. Obviously, if we know they are sleeping, we don't. Also, if an inmate has missed 3 meals with us, they are automatically checked and placed on suicide watch. To allow this to go unchecked and ignored for as long as they did is criminal and makes us all look bad. I do not believe, though, this is a race case. This is just a not giving shit mentality. They are just another fucking inmate, etc. This is beyond deliberate indifference, and I hope charges come down soon. This behavior is not allowed, and nothing ensures that these actions will happen again. That is from a correctional officer. It's going to be interesting to see what Florida GOP officials respond with if this makes the news in a bigger way. As the above poster mentioned, he didn't die of starvation as much as he died of dehydration. This is indeed a special kind of hell. I'm a Massachusetts Republican, and I think this prison staff should face murder charges, be found guilty, and spend the rest of their lives in the same prison solitary. If the fringe Florida GOP ignores or spins this story before trial, they should be expelled from the party en masse. You're talking about Florida. DeSantis will probably high-five everyone involved and give them a raise. I disagree. I hope Governor DeSantis sees what's going on and appoints somebody like myself or somebody else to start overseeing stuff. I really do. I mean, I don't know. I think I would quit everything I do just to try to help these people. Along with the Texas GOP, the Arizona GOP, the Colorado GOP, the Montana GOP, and so on. There's a reason that things such as no exceptions anti-abortion laws are able to stay in place, despite the voters in said states being against such extremism. Massachusetts, California, and several other GOP groups would serve the country well to either utterly drown out their extremism by utterly countering all the Fox News disinformation, or splinter off and take a bunch of sane voters with them. This isn't starvation. This is dehydration. Literally dying of thirst. Every organ screaming from loss of water. Though perhaps he was spared some of that by the severing of his spinal cord, still he would know as he lost the ability to form saliva and his lips and tongue became dry and cracked, and he would know that there was nothing he could do to stop it. The doctor who examined Ridley committed premeditated murder and should be charged for it. Third world. Jesus. That hurricane should have taken the state with it. Nobody fakes a broken neck over several days. Nobody. Holy shit, this is fucked up. But these people, through the hell they put him through, I want blood. I don't know if I want blood. I want change. I almost feel like I'm getting fucking hardened to this. I mention it a lot. I talk about it a lot. This is the Florida Department of Law Enforcement who put this report out. Did you hear what I just said? The FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement. This is the agency that works for the governor, has put this report out. If the people involved in this case are still running prisons, there's your problem. At what point are we just not giving a fuck about people? I've seen a lot of fucking misery and I've seen a lot of fucking heartache in my life. I watch men die and it never gets better. Listen, I'm no angel. Nobody out there is professional to be, I think, an angel or anything like that. And this is not just a failure of a system that doesn't have checks and balances. This is a failure of people. This is where people should be held accountable. And when they're not held accountable, it just keeps happening and happening. And how we could accept it, I have fucking no clue. I'm praying. I don't even pray. I want to pray. Man, it just fucking got me fucked up, this one. I'm picturing that person because I was in those prison cells. I was in there laying on my fucking stomach when my back was gone. And I'm lucky I'm alive. I really believe I'm lucky I'm alive. I don't know why I'm alive. Maybe I'm alive for this. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But we have to fucking stop what's going on. I hate to be so fucking... I don't know what to do. I keep fucking raising this issue. We need to fucking have oversight by a person like myself. We need to have oversight by people who care. I am no fucking liberal, bleeding heart liberal. I am far from it. I believe in being held accountable for your crimes. I was held accountable for my crimes and I suffered for them. Did I deserve to be tortured and beaten? No. Nobody deserves this. Nobody deserves to happen. I don't think it's a race issue either. I think it's a fucking systematic issue of a broken fucking system that nobody cares about. until it's your loved one that's in prison, until it's somebody you know who's in prison. And that's what makes it worse. You know, I have so much positive coming. I have a prison cooking show. I'm starting this week. I'm coming out and going to do some shows this week down in South Florida with cooks and everything else. And I wanna bring the joy. I wanna bring the positivity of my storytelling to the world. But this just always jumps in the way, and I can't ignore it. The more we ignore it, the more we're part of the problem. I don't know how, and I'll tell you what, if there's one thing you can do, is I want you to vote for the people and ask them, what are you gonna do about a broken prison system? What are you doing about a broken prison system? Please don't let them say, it's an isolated incident, because it's not. This is just here. You don't think this is happening all over the country? There is a reason the United States is known as the worst fucking prison system in the world, and it's a hell of a fucking moniker to have. We don't need it. We don't deserve it. We as a people need to be more compassionate, more caring and loving for people. I am fucking totally fucking enraged, but I'm trying to hold myself together so I can speak logically, speak intelligently about problems that are in our system. I'm not asking people to be fucking these people that, you know, saints or whatever, but this is bad. This is, how do you go to bed bad? How do you look at yourself in the mirror? How do you fucking deal with yourself? I don't know. And until we hold people accountable, and I'm talking about the big people, I'm talking about the wardens, I'm talking about the captains, I'm talking about the people in charge, need to be held accountable. And until we hold them accountable, it's never gonna stop. All they do is say, it's not me. Well, you hired him, you trained him, you're the one who's supposed to oversee him. How does this fucking situation happen? As a correctional officer said, this is beyond fucking words. Every one of those people should be held accountable. Sadly, they're not. But I hope that things change. I really, really do. I'm not going to keep harping on these things. I have to mention them, and I have to keep you appraised of what's going on. When these things come to my desk and I start researching them and there's the FDLE involved and stuff of that nature, it's time to fucking goddamn make somebody listen. You know, we have a governor's race. I like Governor DeSantis. I hope Governor DeSantis fucking sees it for what it is. He's not a bad man. I don't believe for 1 second he's a bad man. I really don't. But maybe he's ignoring it. Maybe he's putting it aside. Maybe there's so many more important issues. I hope not. But I don't see any one of them fucking bringing these issues up. Because I can't see one person I know accepting stuff like this. I really can't. And I want you guys to start thinking about that. I want you to start looking at the articles. I want you to start researching stuff. And I'm not talking fake news now here. I'm talking about the FDLE. Somebody needs to be held accountable. Period. Somebody needs to be held accountable. And until that happens, and I mean publicly held accountable. Until that happens, I don't know if there's ever going to be a change. But we need the change, people. We really need the fucking change. I can only open somebody's eyes so much. I can only bring people to the water, and I can't make you drink it. But please, start doing your own research. Do the right thing. Stop fucking being compassionate. I mean, am I compassionate? Am I the only one who's compassionate? I doubt that very seriously. Listen, I got a lot coming up. I gotta get this through my system, and that's why I'm doing this. With that said, man, please do your research. Do what you gotta do. Show me you're the Americans that I know you are. Let's get the moniker of the worst prison system in the free world off America. Let's change. Ask your fucking governor, ask your senator, ask your state representative, why am I not fucking on some kind of board to change this shit? Because it needs to be changed. It really does. And until people like myself know what to look for, it probably won't. With that said, please, please, please pray for certain people. If you pray pray for people. I really want to thank you guys. I'm sorry I fucking bring these things up. I hope I don't make you negative in that light. And stay tuned. I gotta have some positive coming. And I got some great cooking shows coming. I got a bunch of stuff good coming. The visiting with my daughter's coming and stuff like that. And the cooking show is gonna be a lot of fun. I need it. I need positivity because I can't make it, guys. I really mean that. Thank you for all listening. Much love to you. Stay well. Please make good choices. Don't get in this fucking crazy system we're in. Please. Much love and respect. Stay safe. I'll see you next video.